We're sitting down today with Miss Sheila O'Drain and sitting down today to talk about the Humboldt Literacy Council. And to be honest with you, I was born and raised in this area, and I don't know that I've ever heard of the Humboldt Literacy Council. So let's talk about this. Why was this council formed?
Well, about a year ago, I was looking at kind of what was going on just in the local community in terms of any kind of tutoring. I lived in Alaska for 9 years, and we had a literacy program up there.
Okay.
And I noticed that there wasn't any here.
Yeah.
And so illiteracy is a national problem, and some areas of the country have greater problems with illiteracy than others. But Humboldt and Tennessee in general falls into the category of need
Okay.
for literacy. And by literacy, I mean the ability to read, to write, and to communicate.
Yes. Okay. How is illiteracy a problem in society today?
We can link illiteracy, which is the inability to read, write, and speak properly, to several social problems. Poverty, crime, healthcare, and unemployment are all linked with illiteracy.
Okay.
So, for instance, 43% of adults at reading level 1, which is like under fourth grade level, live in poverty compared to only 4% at level 5.
Yeah.
90% of welfare recipients are high school dropouts. A recent Pfizer study put the direct health care costs at $73 million a year. So
Wow.
more than 60% of prison inmates are functionally illiterate.
Wow.
Yes. Penal records show that inmates have a 70% chance of returning to prison if they are illiterate, compared to compared to 26%
Yeah.
of literate inmates.
Wow.
So this equates to a taxpayer cost per year of $25,000 per inmate per year.
Wow.
And nearly double for juveniles.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's very high. And the Department of Justice has determined, and in quotes, the link between academic failure and delinquency, violence and crime, is welded to reading failure.
Wow.
So I think we can say that when one child out of 4 grows up unable to read and write, we have a national crisis.
Definitely so. And obviously there's practical needs that would come with this. So how do you see the practical need for literacy?
There are just so many ways that people's inability to read really affects the person's life.
Sure.
So for instance, an adult that can't assemble a toy or a household product because that adult can't read the instructions.
Wow.
Or an adult can't fill out a resume or job application because that adult can't read the application. And in fact, some of the library personnel have told me that people will come in to apply online for
Yep.
a job
Yep.
and they can't fill out the application. An adult that can't read signs can have difficulty navigating.
Yeah, definitely.
An adult can't use a computer because that adult can't read. An adult can't leave a note or read a note because the adult can't read.
Yeah.
They can't read a book or a newspaper or a note from a teacher because the adult can't read. So if you have, say, for instance, an illiterate adult parent,
Yeah.
and the child comes home with a little note from the teacher, they can't read it.
Wow.
An adult can't communicate clearly because they have not learned how to pronounce words or put a sentence together. I can tell you that I have spoken to individuals that I could not understand what they were saying. So verbal speech is very important in forming relationships.
Yeah.
If I don't understand half of what you're saying, how do I develop a relationship with you?
Right.
So the individual that is illiterate has an advantage when they're literate
Yeah.
in all areas of society over the individual that can't read, write, or speak properly.
Sure.
And so we believe, the Humboldt Literacy Council believes, that everyone deserves a chance to contribute and to benefit from society.
Definitely. And we've talked about now why there is a need for the Humboldt Literacy Council. And like I said, I didn't even realize that we had such. What does the Humboldt Literacy Council do? We know what the problem is, so
Yeah.
what is our objective now?
So what we did is we formed a 5-member board to establish a literacy program for Humboldt and Gibson County.
Sure.
All those adult residents who desire to improve their reading, their writing, or their speech, as all 3 of those go together. We have existing programs, and we do, to assist children, like, for instance, the Rise to Read program. It's an excellent program
Sure.
for children. But we saw a gap in the local literacy programs for adults.
Yeah.
We have a vetting process, our board does, because we have tutors.
Sure.
For the recruited volunteers, so we do background checks and so on.
Definitely.
To work with each individual at that individual's level, whether the person can't read at all or is it just a very low reading level. As yet, we have not expanded to a GED program. We're hoping to do that in the future, but have plans to expand it to include study for GED once our literacy program is fully operational.
Yeah, and obviously in this area there are challenges. Can you give us maybe some of those challenges that you face?
Yes, our greatest challenge is drawing residents into the program.
Yeah.
We have had a few individuals that have come in and received the tutoring,
Okay.
but overall, we know the need is out there, but we're not getting the numbers of literacy students we should.
Oh, wow.
So we think that our program with low application may be a lack of awareness that our program even exists. So people may not know there is a program through the library to help them with reading and writing. And it could also be a degree of embarrassment or shame that's attached to illiteracy. Those that can't read feel as though they're stupid or that something is wrong with them because they can't read. But literacy has nothing, absolutely nothing, to do with intelligence.
Sure.
Inability to read is a result often of a poor educational system, and it's often also the result of just other social factors.
Sure.
And I'll give you a personal example.
All right.
To this day, I'm a poor speller, and yet I have a master's degree.
Oh, wow.
It was not until I entered college that I learned that spelling is a talent, not a skill.
Okay.
But all those years in school, I was ashamed I could not spell, and I just believed there was something wrong with me. Also, I was unable to read at grade level until I was in 6th grade.
Wow.
And I had a very good education. I'm old enough that I remember when and I went to a private school.
Yeah.
So I struggled, and I believed I was not very smart. Later, I discovered that methods of learning differ from person to person, and traditional methods just did not work well for me. That's one thing I can say about our program, too. We really gear it to people's different learning styles. Some people learn through listening.
Yeah.
Some people are visual learners. So we gear our program to that person's learning style.
Wow. I know people are probably watching this today and they're thinking, well, that all sounds good, but what's the cost? You know, that's going to be the next question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the wonderful news, that the program is absolutely free.
Wow.
The only thing the individual needs to do is to be able to get here, get signed up,
Sure.
and then we assign a tutor, and then we accommodate their schedule. So that's all they have to do. It's free.
Okay, you mentioned signing up, so how do people sign up for that program?
They come into the Humboldt Public Library,
Okay.
And that is located on 115 South 16th Avenue in Humboldt.
Yeah.
And they just request an application. They just talk to a librarian, anyone there at the desk, and say,
Sure.
I'm here for the tutoring program. And that person will help the person fill out the forms and assess what level of instruction is needed. And then a tutor will contact them and set up a meeting.
Fantastic. Why don't you give that contact information as well here before we wrap this up?
Okay. So the number to call is 731-784-2383. Again, it's 731-784-2383, and they can speak to Josh or anyone that answers the phone.
Sure.
And again, we're located at 115 South 16th Avenue in Humboldt.
This has been very good, very informative, and
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Ms. Sheila O'Drain, coming in today with the Humboldt Literacy Council. And we're going to continue on the record coming up after this, and appreciate you joining us today. We'll be right back.